Hello guys, welcome to Programmer eLj's programming series. I'll be taking you through how to create websites, mobile applications, and a lot more related to computer or software engineering. Please hit the subscribe button, like and comment to promote or share knowledge with me. So today I'm going to take you through a simple website development process. We're going to be using a content management system called WordPress. It's one of the easiest ways to develop your website. First, what you'll need on your laptop is a server. And by the server, I recommend you either use WAMP server. For that, you'll go to XAMPP. You could easily go to XAMPP and download the XAMPP server. As easy as that. So you'll see apachefriends.org. You'll be able to pick your download from there. But in this case, I already have XAMPP downloaded onto my machine. So I'll straight up go and start the installation. So my machine is 64-bit. Probably if your machine is 64-bit, pick the 64-bit version of XAMPP from their website. My internet may be a bit slow, but it's coming through. Or if your machine is 32-bit, you'll probably have to pick the 32-bit version for yourself. Okay. Now, one of the things you're going to realize with XAMPP, unlike WAMP is created by Windows, by Microsoft. So it's so compatible with Windows, it's easy to install on the C drive. It won't give you a lot of hassle running it. But then with XAMPP, it's an open source software created by a multiple number of developers. No one has rights to it, except it's one server I would prefer that you get. But the downside with it is you'll have to install it on your second drive so that you don't find hassles or compatibility issues with your C drive that has your Windows on. So in this case, I'm going to go and install it on another drive, that's A. So I've chosen my install location. I'll do next. Oh, it needs an empty folder, new folder, created one for it there. Next. To prepare to install, take you to the XAMPP. Yeah, actually it's Bitnami, the company that organizes the software, open source software developers. So we'll wait for it to unpack and install. As simple as that. So after you're done with the installation, just right click next, follow the procedure, nothing else, and straight up you'll have your server up and running. So in this case, I have my server already installed. So I'll come to my applications, go to XAMPP, look for it around here, right there. That's where it is. Open my server. So you're going to see Apache, MySQL, FileZilla, Mercury, Tomcat. All these are modules needed to run your website. So looking at Apache is just a set of controls that will help you sync your PHP, C++, all those different languages to sync with each other and generally get your server running your website. SQL, MySQL is the software we're going to use. It will run your SQL database files. So all you have to do, actually, I would advise you run it in administrator mode. Run as administrator for compatibility issues. It will always fail sometimes with Windows. It's better on Linux. So we start our Apache server, we start our database, the MySQL. You may not mind about the files, Zilla, Mercury, and Tomcat. You will not need that. So with our server up and running in the background, we are good to go. I'll cancel this because I already have it installed. But you'll continue the installation if you've been doing that. Good. Now, the next thing you need is to go to a browser of your choice. I prefer Brave browser. Could go to your Chrome, go to your Outlook, Microsoft had Edge, any browser of your choice. So with your server up and running, you're going to go down to localhost. To access your server, you'll have to use your localhost because your server is right now running on your local machine. Instead of www, instead of going to the World Wide Web, you'll be going down to your localhost to get all your resources put together by this server. So the first thing is it's going to bring you to the dashboard page. One of the important things about the dashboard page is your PHP info. Basically gives you a little information about the type of Apache server you're running. You won't need that a lot, but basically you'll need the PHP MyAdmin tab. So what we're finding in here is this is where we're going to find all the databases that our websites are going to run. So I'll be taking you through another series to get you learning how SQL databases are run. But now today we'll basically create a small database, come to new database. The database name probably is going to be TryoDB. And I would prefer you just collect. So I'll choose collection and create. So basically our database is created, but we have no files in it. Like you can see, you can drop this database right now in the operations panel. That's one thing to show you that it has been created. If you don't see the drop database, that means it hasn't been created. Cool. So we're going to our browser. In this case, we chose Brave. Yeah. Now we want to start developing our site. Remember in mind, you have your database created. Now what you need is the layout. That's when we use WordPress. So probably our website is going to be called Try Your Website. So here we go. First, go to your server. Go to the Explorer tab to take you direct into your server. Figure out the htdocs folder in your server. This is where all your websites will be kept. Create a new folder. I would ideally prefer you name it according to the name your site will have, because you're going to have so many websites in this folder. So try your website. That's what we call it. Now, you're going to have to get a WordPress compressed file. Why compressed? Because most of the time you don't want any of those links getting disorganized. So personally, you could go to WordPress and download the WordPress zip file. WordPress. You can download the WordPress zip file from here. In my case, like you can see, got the WordPress.com official site. You'll easily get the WordPress zip file that you're going to install into your folder. In my case, I already have it installed on my PC, so I'll simply pick it from my PC. WordPress. Yeah, like I said, I don't recommend the unzipped WordPress files. Yeah, I have my zip file here. What I'll do is cut it, or probably copy it, go back to my htdocs folder, this one here, and what I'm basically going to do is go into my folder that we created. Remember, try your website, try your DB, that's the database we have for this website, and I'm going to simply paste this in here. The next thing I'm going to do is extract this, so I'll extract it here so that I have the WordPress components already installed. Then don't remember to uninstall the compressed file or delete the compressed file, just like that. Delete it, it will not do you good with it in there when you're running your WordPress site. So I'll get my WordPress, my website name, TryDB. I'll copy it, go back to my browser. Now go straight to my localhost. Tell my localhost I have a folder, I have a website called Try Your Website. So I'll await the WordPress installation. Meanwhile, this is running off your localhost, so sometimes it's going to be slower if your server is not optimally configured. Like you can see, it will definitely give you this introduction page. Just go to Let's Go. Yeah, your database name. Remember the database name we created. Very important. You need it again. So we'll go back to the localhost. Okay. I don't see the tab. We'll get it again. Go to your SQL. Try a DB right here. This is our database. So we're going to copy this right here. And paste it here as the database name. I would advise that you don't do a password for the beginning, and then by default your username is root, because you're getting to the root of your server, and the root of your server is basically your hard disk drives, your machine's components. So they're not passworded at the time. It's just the root of your localhost. That's all you need for now, and you run the installation. take quite a while. Good. So basically, you're going to have to give your site a title, a catchy title. Try a website. Also, remember, this is the name that is going to appear next to your favicon. Now you're going to have to figure out a username for yourself. In this case, I will go with admin. By default, WordPress wants you to have a strong site, so I would recommend you just keep this because you're not going to easily create a strong password like they do want you to do. So copy the password currently given to you, save it somewhere. I'd recommend going back into your htdocs folder, in your websites folder, create another a text document, call it logins. I recommend it in the website folder because every website is going to have changes to passwords and the like. So you really have to have them in check. Password. Save. The next thing, it's going to ask you for an email address. So you're going to have to create one. In this case, I'll use bambimediagroup@gmail.com. You'll choose one you prefer. I don't encourage you to discourage search engines from indexing your site. It's very important because it will appear to your users much more easily. Good. Service and login. So basically, you finished installing WordPress into your folder. So you have a content management system laying in your folder. It's your backbone that you're going to work with. There's so many ways you're going to develop websites, but I would advise that you go WordPress because it's so easy. It's the simplest way to develop a dynamic website. And it's really dynamic. You could go for a static, a web responsive site, and the like. So I have to get my email. For instance, it was Bambi Media Group, I think. Or go with my username admin plus the password, login. So you're going to be prompted to change this password later on to something easier when you get to log in into your localhost. We'll wait for it a little bit. Bam. So within a click, you have your website up and running. You can now visit a simple structure of your website right there. So all that is left for you to do is to design this template into what you want. This is far much more easier than going the stock way, using Dreamweaver, having to do the divisions yourself, the sections yourself. Really, it's much easier than using such. But the benefit of using the likes of Dreamweaver and the like is that you have full control of your design. But the limitations you're going to have with the content management system is that you're going to have to design a theme that you feel can work for the idea you have. So if your ideas are larger than that, then you're going to have to go for something where you have full control all the divisions, the sections, the headers and the bodies, the navigations, something like that. That takes a lot of time. That's why I really advise you to go WordPress. As simple as that. So one of the themes I would advise you to get in WordPress is the Cadence theme. The Cadence theme is one of those new themes that is very, very, very well developed, search optimized and the like. But the downfall with it is that it only runs on the Gutenberg plugin. Why Gutenberg? WordPress has moved from so many WordPress editors. As per now, I would advise anyone that is looking at getting into website development to study the Gutenberg plugin. So in this case, I'll go back to my dashboard and get that Gutenberg plugin. Among the other plugins you'll have to edit your WordPress site are Blocksy, you'll have Elementor, but all those are old-fashioned. If you want a quick site, very fast, I'd advise you go with Gutenberg. So we are going to have to go and install the plugins we require to run our site. By default, you're going to have an anti-spam plugin, Hello Dolly plugin. I would advise you delete these or deactivate them because you don't need them. You're going to have better plugins to do the spamming for you, to do the notifications for you. Anyway, so I recommend deleting this so that you don't get confused with so many plugins. They're hell to work with. And we add our new plugin.